Hey, hello, you're stuck in traffic with Wolf Gorlick. A few minutes riffing on IT and IT security. Today looking at SharePoint, specifically on-premise SharePoint that has vulnerabilities that's being exploited quite a lot in the wild right now. Had lunch with a colleague, old friend, someone I hadn't seen in a few years, and we were marveling about how much had changed and how rapidly, right? At the time we were working together, we were doing on-premise SharePoint, on-premise Exchange, and on-premise. And of course, the debate always was back then, what's more secure, public cloud or your own cloud? What's more secure, technology that you're going to rely on in a multi-tenancy environment where anyone can be doing anything? Or technology you're going to rely on your own self, right? Self-reliant security. And the tip for you is this, as the story with SharePoint will show, it really comes down to not necessarily where the technology is hosted these days, but whether or not you have the time, the resources, and the attention and the discipline to keep that technology up to date. In this particular case, there was a vulnerability that came out with SharePoint. SharePoint has this vulnerability. It allows remote code execution. It's available in 2010, 2016, and now it's being reported that it's being taken advantage of. It was linked to in a bunch of Canadian businesses and a bunch of Middle Eastern businesses. I'll drop the link down when I post this video. The vulnerability has been patched. So if you're patched, you're not in a bad spot. If you haven't been patched, people are taking advantage of this to run remote code execution, put up a simple shell, use that shell to run PowerShell, and then to move laterally through the environment. Now, if you are smart, you deployed SharePoint in a DMZ or screen subnet where only web traffic can come in and only certain traffic can go out. Awesome. Not everyone has, so there's a lot more complications if you've got a flat network. But even if you have, you got to poke holes for a whole bunch of things. That's the way SharePoint works. It needs to talk to your Active Directory. It needs to talk to other services internally. It probably has databases. You're not going to put your databases on the same side. So you probably have a SQL server on another subnet, get your Active Directory on another subnet. You're not going to run multiple Active Directories. That wouldn't make sense. So it's probably your same directory. SQL is expensive, so maybe you got dedicated SQL servers, or maybe you're running one giant SQL server to conserve licensing, and you just plop the SharePoint database in there. Why wouldn't you? Gotta do what you can. So what that means is even if you're in a DMZ and someone comes in and compromises the SharePoint server and then runs a little shell and then has PowerShell to come out and talk to other services, they probably can go after your databases and probably can go after your domain controllers. Conceptually the most important things in your environment, creds and data. So why is this happening, and what does this tell us about protecting our environments? It's happening because of just the way we structure IT and infrastructure. When you are in highly segregated environments, either on-prem or if you're using a hosted service like Office 365 SharePoint, you've got bastions, right, where you can protect the data. So if something gets compromised, hopefully that compromise is not spread. When you are in a hosted environment, patches get applied more quickly. That, of course, could also break other things, as we all know patches can. So you're constantly balancing that. Do I have the time in-house to keep these environments up? Do I have the attention discipline to keep these environments up? Do I have the monitoring to know if something goes bad, that something's gone bad, right? And it always is a balancing act. I firmly believe you can have an environment just as secure in the cloud or just as secure in on-prem. Just like I used to say, you could have an environment just as secure in Linux and just as secure in Windows. It all depends on whether or not you have the ability to focus in on it and make it happen. What do you think of this new vulnerability? What do you think it portends for the future of on-premise SharePoint? Comments, social media, hit me up.